Hello, welcome to my channel. This is my weekly all client update. So this is particularly aimed and especially aimed at anyone that I'm working with already, anybody who has expressed a interest and said, can you keep my number, can you keep me updated in terms of lessons and cancellations and such like. People that are scheduled to work with me but maybe I've not met them yet because their lesson could be 6 months or a year away from now. And these are a kind of little list of 5 things every week that I think you would want to know. I think that you should know. It can be thought-provoking, it can be a call to arms for you to take action, or just to keep you updated with the way that the industry's going and what's happening. And so if you are one of those folk, welcome. If you've stumbled onto the channel by accident, you're still welcome. And the 5 things I want to cover this week are driving test wait times and any arrangement you've made already, the use of study aids and the logons that I issue, and what I'm going to do slightly differently now out of necessity, useful study aids and some additional kind of tools that you can use that I think could be helpful, the stress and nerves and mind management part of the driving test, which actually is the bit that, in my experience, is the thing that people are least prepared for. They worry a lot about theory tests and highway code and traffic signs books and steering and driving, and you should, but to be complete, to be ready, to be truly ready, you need to train your mind as well, I suppose, in a way. And I'm going to talk you through some of the helpful things I've found, and that what after test people then come back to me and go, oh, this was really great. And then possibly theory test help that you could get in a different way, because the barrier to driving test success is often the person hasn't got the theory test cracked, because maybe they learn differently, maybe the book or the app isn't the answer, maybe they've taken a few tests and failed. So I hope that something in this little update will be useful to you. Driving tests then. So every week I look at driving tests, and every week I schedule driving test for anyone I said I'd do it for, or I move dates around to make the date more realistic for the person involved. And it could be that you have done exceptionally well, you've done loads of private practice, and that you're on track, but actually ahead of schedule. And if that's doable, we will look to switch your test around with maybe someone else that isn't ready. An example that could be, let's make up some names. Dave is doing brilliantly well, he's done loads of extra practice, he's going out every night with mum and dad, maybe mum and dad buy him a car and get the insurance and the tax disc and all the rest of it, and off he goes. So he's ahead of plan. And then Steve, he's broke his ankle playing hockey or something, or had an illness and he's had 3 weeks off, or he's got stuck at work on some business trip. It's loads of things, and so now he's behind plan. So it's really straightforward to switch those tests around so that everybody gets the first best opportunity based on their ability, based on their practice, based on their readiness. And that works best when I put the test for you. And if you've got a test booked already that you booked before I met you, then it's really important that you drop me a message so that I put it into my plan, so that my car's free, I'm free, I don't have lessons that day, I don't have another test. That's really quite key, because I can't be in 2 places at once. So if you haven't had a confirmation email from me and an appointment like we schedule lessons, then your time on test day is not in my plan. So we need to crack that one. Study aids. So there are a number of study aids and everybody's offered them. And if you can't get access to them, or you forgot your logon or whatever, let me know and I'll reissue it. But there's a number of things that are helpful. There is the video-based versions of the highway code, video-based versions of the know your traffic signs, video-based, so CGI-based videos of cars driving around. This is how you do a roundabout, this is how you do a left turn. And folk tell me they're really quite useful, really helpful. So they're available. Not everybody has accessed them, because I look now and then. So what I'm going to do is, because these apps, they I can only buy so many licenses, which means only so many people can use them. And that then means that if I issue 25 IDs and 10 people use them, and then I get 10 new inquiries, there might be people that I have to say no to. And the way my business works is that I take on people a year or more before they're actually going to do a lesson. So they could be cracking on with the theory test, so that when their age rolls around to 17, they could steam straight in there, pass the theory a week after their 17th birthday, say, and then they're massively better prepared. So what I'm going to do is, if in 14 days you haven't used your logons at all, then I'm going to have to delete and recycle them. And then when you're ready to use it, you let me know. And that's the fairest way to give everybody the chance to use what are limited resources. One more app that's useful is the Driving Test Nerves app. I really recommend you use that, and everybody gets access to it. It helps you self-manage how you can control your thoughts and feelings. It helps you self-manage and realise when stress is creeping up on you like a thundercloud, like a rainstorm, so that you can do proactive things to get in front of the wave of feeling that might come, and then lessen the impact, and therefore it feels like a 1 out of 10 in your world, rather than a 10 out of 10 that could change your ability to focus and ruin an otherwise good driving test. That's just one example. One more study app that's proved quite popular, and I've used them in the car just as a testing device, I suppose, is these. So I hope you can see those. So you can buy them on eBay or Amazon or whatever. They'll probably be described as theory test flashcards. They're quite useful, and the upside of using those could be that apps are usually isolation learning. You're sat on your own and you're doing whatever. Cards could be a more practical way to keep chipping away at learning how to do this theory test, how learning what everything means, because you could give the cards out when you're watching telly or the adverts are on, or 10 minutes till dinner and you're sitting around the table, and you go, oh, ask me 10 of these, or read the description and I'll tell you what the road sign looks like. So that could be a way that you can do it. So buy a set of those if you need a new way to study for the theory test. In terms of study aids then, the mental preparation is an aside to the rote learning, as it's sometimes called, the what does this road sign mean and what does this road marking mean. I would really encourage you to use the 3 books that I often share and advocate in terms of how you're going to get stress free or reduce stress free, how you're going to manage your mind so that you don't get overwhelmed, how you can deal with little setbacks and keep going. And it's massively important for test, of course, but it's actually important for life, interviews, working in an office environment, projects, whether you're learning to play an instrument, whether you're going to be on stage in a theatre, whether you're going to go on your first trip by yourself and you've never flown, or you've never booked your own hotel, or there's loads of reasons why you might need a different thinking and feeling pattern to help you be successful. So these are the things I would really recommend you read. You can buy them in a book form, if you like a paper book. You can get them on Audible, which is how I like to utilise them, because it's that dead time when you're going for a walk or walking the dog or sit in the bath, whatever, and you can play it in little chunks and whatever. And I just, when I hear the words, it's better than sometimes for me reading the words. So yeah, so this would be my first choice. Chimp Paradox. You can get it everywhere, and I've got copies I can send you. If I was to summarise what it does, Professor Steve Peters is a bit of a genius when it comes to psychology. Trained psychologist, has trained athletes and elite performers into how do you go from a athlete to a gold medal winner, and he's done it like over and over again, and quite a lot of people that you may have heard of will have attributed part of their success to the way that he prepared them. So he's a really expensive guy. Can you imagine if you or I rang him up and said, oh, can you help me? We'd have to mortgage our house. He's that good. But the book is accessible, and what it does is it helps you understand the way your mind works. And not to boil it down, but this is how I think of it. This is the message I drew. There's sort of 7 chambers in your mind, in your brain, and 3 of them in a simple way, the way they're described, I mean, is the core ones that are going to affect how you think, feel, and why you act the way you do. If you've ever had this, oh my God, why did I say that? Oh my God, why did I do that? And half an hour later, there's regret. If you've ever been so overwhelmed and then afterwards said, why was I worried? How did this happen? This book's for you. And that's driving test for sure. That's theory test for sure. That's I'm going for an interview. I'm getting married. I'm going on my first foreign holiday by myself. All of those kind of scenarios in life where you've got a big challenge, read that book. It helps you then understand how it happens, why it happens, what you can do about it. Practical exercises for you to manage it on an ongoing basis. And if you haven't read that book, I really recommend you do. So that's the first thing I'd read or listen to. If you are an avid reader and you want some more kind of thought changing, perspective changing stuff, then the second book I'd read is this one, The Next Conversation, by a guy called Jefferson Fisher, who is a trial lawyer in the US and became, I guess, famous for making what 1 minute videos in his car that would help you think and frame how to act differently in a scenario. So your boss at work is rude to you, what should you say? Somebody belittles you and puts you down in a work meeting or the workplace, what should you do? I'm think of another example. I'm acting in a way I don't want to when in response to being antagonized, or I'm giving angry responses. I'm acting in a way I'm not proud of, those kind of things. And when you read the book or listen to it, it changes how you think, it changes how you'll act. And in a way, in a simple way, I guess, you'll learn to put the brakes on in the moment. And I'm talking about perhaps explicitly for driving test nerves and lesson nerves. I'm thinking about that. You learn to put the brake on, hit the pause, and then come up with a better choice, an active, thought out response to a perceived problem or crisis. And then it's the beginning of rewiring the way you think to always be able to be selective in the things that you say and do. So for that reason, I'd read that book. I found it massively helpful, and I reckon you will too. And then the third book, if you're a bookworm, and I still recommend you read these all, but I would then read this one, The Let Them Theory. So that's got sort of international notoriety just now because the author's become quite famous for the work she's done. And if I was to boil it down, it's somebody who's been through some ups and downs in life, some real challenges and tribulations. And it's the story that goes with it, which is interesting, but it's how that they've learned to cope with it, and the kind of tools and techniques they've used, and how they now think differently and act differently, and how you might do the same. How you might develop an attitude that, in its simplest guise, says, I'm going to be me, and I'm going to do my thing, and if the world doesn't like it, well, that's up to them. I'm going to make this decision, I'm going to make this choice, and if people can't accept it, then that's on them. It helps you think more about, I suppose, doing the thing that's right, and you know that it feels okay to do it, rather than worrying about the consequences of what other people will say to what you've done or act to how you've chosen to be. Because often in life we don't do things because it's not we don't know what the decision we should make is, it's that we worry about what other people will say. So it's a thought changing book that I recommend you use. Now the Let Them Theory and the Next Conversation, those two books, the last two I showed you, there's podcasts that go with that as well. So if you're someone that listens to stuff, I would go to them podcasts too, because they have guests on who have had life experiences or been through traumas or whatever that you might be able to relate to, and then take nuggets of advice and change, and in a simple way change the way you think. Most often test success comes with loads of preparation and practice. It comes about being knowledgeable about the books and stuff, but being able to actively manage your mind so that in the moment you can be selective and pick the right choices and get through that little uncomfortable 10 seconds, 15, 20 seconds of the mistake. Oh my God, I've done this. and you'll just come up with better ways to deal with it. I promise you it works. And if you ever ask me, if you want to ask me, you know, if you ever see me, about my experiences, how I used all of that stuff to get me through something that was massively difficult for me, like really difficult, I'll tell you all about it, and I know that it works. So there's that. So booking lessons. The schedule's gone out today. It now reads to September of 26. Every vacation I've got, every time I'm not available, every day I'm doing, every weekend, currently every evening, it's there. So get busy with it. Book as many as you can, as far in advance as you're able to. 50 hours minimum, and go 12 hours or so past any known test date. 3 months, 12 hours, whichever one. The reason for that is if your test gets moved or cancelled, and they can, and they have, we've suddenly got no practice time, and then I'm already full. What are we going to do? So that's a planning tactic. If you don't need 50 hours, we won't do 50 hours. You'll only ever do the sessions that you need, but you've got them to give away completely. You've got them to swap with others, but none of that's possible if you don't plan them. And then one other thing I'm thinking about introducing, and tell me if this is helpful. Often people can't get through the theory test. They get stuck, or the learning tools they use aren't great, or they can't find the time, or they're unmotivated, can't see a different way. And so there are people that I know in this industry who I think are very good, and they think in a different way, and they offer remote Zoom-based classroom, if you like, theory test help. Now, it's their time they're giving away, so I expect them to perhaps bill for it. I can't say exclusively, but if that's something that you'd be interested in, let me know, and I'll introduce the pair of you, and you can then see what they offer, and if there are any money involved, fees involved, and then decide if that's something that you would get benefit from. I think you could, and if you're a different learner, I think you should. So there we are. If you've followed these updates, these broadcasts before, then you'll realise that I'm in a different location today. Normally I shoot it from, that's my office behind me. Usually I shoot it from inside my office because it's quiet and people won't disturb me. But I've got a house full of guests, they're everywhere. I can't get any peace and quiet. They're sleeping in rooms, or you know when your family come over and there's like a million of them. People are lying everywhere. You've got to sort of step over the bodies in the morning. So I've got people sleeping in the office on the floor because it's quite a comfy little office. So I'm out here in the garden trying to just find a quiet 5 minutes before the weekend begins. My daughter's birthday and my wife's university graduation celebrate. Everything's happening at once. So I thought I'd take a minute to update you. So your 5 things then are: driving test dates are currently February 26. Update me if you've booked your own test. Study aids, use the logons, and if you haven't used them, I'm going to recycle them. Doesn't stop you asking again, but I've got to give everyone a fair chance to use them. Use the new study aids that I introduced, the flashcards, and I showed you the books. I really recommend them. Listen to the podcast. I really recommend them. Book 50 hours minimum, 3 months or 12 hours minimum past any test date. If you don't need it, we won't do it. And then theory test remote learning is an opportunity. I hope all that's helpful, and if you've got any questions, let me know. What would be massively helpful to me, and I would really appreciate it, is if you could like and or subscribe to the channel, because when I've got other content coming, and I've got some really big ideas, but it's all about time and getting it done, but when that comes out, it might be the update that you need. It might be the show and tell me questions in my car. It might be, I don't know, me showing you how to check your tyre pressure, or how do you check your oil. Some people don't want to know, and others do. They're really interested, because it being just words in a book, oh, this is how you do this, people can't visualize it. So like and share it, like and subscribe, and if you have any questions, let me know. Have a good week.